Thank you, everybody, for being here at our CEO Insight series produced by the West Des Moines Chamber of Commerce in addition with production from Trilec. So today, I'm so excited. We have a dear friend of the Chamber who is a President's Council member and loyal Chamber champion, Dave Nelson, who's President and CEO of Westbank. So thank you, Dave, for being here.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, Catherine. And thank you to Ron Maas and our friends here at Trilec.
I love that you have that personal connection. This is just goes to show how everybody in Des Moines knows everybody, right? The degree of separation is like 1 instead of 5 or 6. So,
well, the secret to happiness in both your personal and professional lives lies right in that your relationships.
Yeah. Right? That's so true. And you've been a relationship builder, Dave, your entire life. And you are an influencer in this region. Everybody knows you. So I'm kind of nervous interviewing you today because you're a legend, right? You're just an incredible rainmaker in the region. You've done so much to support our city and our region. So again, I'm just so honored to be here with you and learn more about you and your journey at Westbank and all the cool things that you're doing. So let's start from the very beginning. Tell us about Westbank and your history. I know you have a lot of pride in your bank and what you do.
Well, I certainly do, but really we all do. It is a compelling and fun story, especially for people who really are interested and respectful of history and heritage.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people know this, but not everybody probably does. But the oldest business of any type to be started in West Des Moines, Iowa is Westbank.
Woo-hoo.
Not just the oldest bank, but the oldest business of any type. Because Valley Junction was the original West Des Moines.
Yeah.
And so in order to be the oldest business of any type, you had to have been founded and started in Valley Junction. And we were Valley Junction State Savings Bank 132 years ago, Herman and Anna Raz. And that building is still there. You can still travel to Valley Junction and see that red 2-story brick building, the Raz building, right on the corner of 5th and Maple.
Okay,
right,
5th
kind of
and
by
Maple.
the Tavern Pizza, next door to the theatrical shop. And you can still walk in the front door and see the original bank vault. And so when Valley Junction changed its name to West Des Moines, then the bank changed its name from Valley Junction State Savings Bank to West Des Moines State Bank. And you can see this across the top of the vault that says West Des Moines State Bank. And if you get in there close and you look, you can see they stenciled right over the top of Valley Junction Savings Bank. Yeah, and so then when the bank grew outside, larger than the city of West Des Moines, we went from West Des Moines State Bank to just Westbank. So 132 years old, still headquartered in West Des Moines, still serving the people of our region. So that's pretty special to us. And so, of course, when it was time to build our own building, of course, the oldest business of any type in West Des Moines needed to remain in West Des Moines.
Yay, thank you. So tell us about your new building and all that went in that. It's a showpiece.
Oh,
so tell us more about that journey.
Well, it was about 10 years in the making, and a lot of people might find this hard to believe, but the building that we were in that we affectionately refer to as the Spam Can.
Spam Can?
Well, we were tenants in there for 52 years, Catherine. And we actually were in 2 buildings. One right behind, it was a 3-building campus with a shared parking lot, but we were a tenant there for 52 years, and we even took up most of a second building, kind of this nondescript red 2-story brick building was full of Westbank people. So
I didn't even know that. Yeah.
Well, wow. And so we were, outgrowing that space, and it kind of made sense for us just financially to own our own building and to build it big enough to accommodate future growth and to support our community. So, but we were still in a long-term lease. So we decided when we were 4 years away from lease expiration, we'd really get going on this. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was plenty of time, and it really wasn't. We probably should have started 5 years ahead of time. But the site selection, of course, Clyde Evans is retired now, but he is the economic director for the city of West Des Moines. And, of course, again, West Des Moines' oldest business was going to stay in West Des Moines. But we looked at every possible site. We needed several acres for what we were going to do, and really decided that we should do a redevelopment, which either makes you a hero or a fool, one of the two. I don't know, but we picked the site where we are. That was really our first site. Other people really liked it. I didn't like it as much as everybody else because I think I knew that doing a redevelopment was going to be a big deal, but it also a big impact. Yeah. But it takes longer, it's more complex, and of course it costs more, but we had to tear down 5 buildings. We had tenants in those buildings, not unlike the current situation with Valley West Mall. There's still tenants, and you can't tear down buildings when people are in them with leases, so that complicates things. Yeah. But very happy with that we did select that site, very pleased with the way it turned out. Nice. We had our customers, we involved as many of our customers as we could, also including customers from Minnesota. So it was really a community effort all the way around. And we're open now. We very much enjoy showing people. But what's really unique about our building is that, but to back up, we have built 4 buildings in Minnesota when we brought West Bank to 4 different towns in Minnesota and built smaller versions of what you see there on 235.
Oh, no kidding.
So we kind of had an idea, pretty much of what we wanted, but it really is consistent with what's most important to us, and that is, you mentioned it, relationship building. It's a place where you can do that. It's a relationship building tool for gathering, for having conversations and hosting events, small and large, or community organizations. And our customers use our building too. They use our meeting space for their corporate meetings or conducting interviews or whatever use they might have. And so it's really another tool, not just certainly a point of pride for our West Bankers, but it gives us another tool to build relationships and serve our community.
It is gorgeous. We're a proud banker of West Bank, and I visit every week to deposit our checks, and I love it. I love the experience. I love going in there and seeing your people and the smiles on their faces, and consistently they're happy to work there. You have incredible employees, and they're just exuberant. Every time I walk in, they're, Catherine, I just feel like a superstar every time I walk in the door. It's really neat. So you've got a great story. You've got wonderful employees. How do you it sounds like your culture, because I can just tell your culture is just phenomenal. You've got this beautiful building, this incredible journey. How do you build great culture? Because you've done that, so I can just tell.
Well, that's a great question, and we are and try to be very intentional about that. And it's just as much about what you don't do, I think, but, how you incent people, how you show appreciation. One thing we do, which there's all kinds of benefits from it, of course, we want to hire the best possible people we can. We want to pay them well, but we want fewer of them. Okay? So we keep everybody busy. Everybody's engaged. Everybody's learning, and their jobs are expanding. And one of the, secrets behind West Bank is if you looked at the tenure of the employees we have, and even include ones that have retired but spent their entire career with West Bank. Same thing with our directors. I mean, it's kind of like the measure of any company or nation, for that matter. Do people want in, or do they want out?
Yeah.
And why? And why is that? And so I think we focus on the right things. Amazing. We do not have difficulty finding people to work and people to bank at West Bank.
Yeah. Well, that's incredible. That's incredible. So the people that bank at West Bank, tell us the people you serve at West Bank.
Well, we have been serving West Des Moines and the greater Des Moines market for 132 years, and people and businesses of all shapes and sizes. A lot of people think of us more as a commercial bank, which is true because we are, but that's not exclusively what we do. I think we truly are best at the things that are most important to someone who's running a business. I do believe that. But we're also a great choice for just people like you and me, just retail, homeowners, and we have all the technology that bank from home, bank from your phone, and all that. But we don't have a location on every corner. But we have all the mobile banking, and course, we do have a very strong presence of buildings sprinkled around the greater Des Moines area. But did you know, and most probably don't, we are also in Iowa City.
Okay.
And over the past few years, we've started banks in 4 Minnesota communities.
Okay.
Those being Rochester was the first, Rochester, Minnesota, and then more recently Mankato, Minnesota, Owatonna, Minnesota, and St. Cloud,
Oh, beautiful
Minnesota.
areas.
So we have
Gorgeous.
brought West Bank to Minnesota
Wow.
also.
Minnesota.
Yes.
I love Minnesota. That's awesome. That's amazing. And you're in charge of all of those branches as well. Is that right, Dave?
Yes, it's all
Okay,
part of
okay.
West Bank, and we do happen to be a publicly traded company. Not everybody,
right.
everybody's familiar with us, but they might not know that we're actually a publicly traded company. So, look us up on NASDAQ, WTBA, and we're also, all these locations, we're all the same company. It's all, they're just branch offices of West Bank. But, I lived in Minnesota. I'm a Des Moines native. I grew up here.
Okay.
Right? Kathy, my wife, we were high school sweethearts,
Oh.
Des Moines Hoover.
Love. Oh, my gosh.
And then just fate had it that we moved to Minnesota. And next thing you know, we've been there for 25 years.
Oh, my gosh.
And I had the opportunity to come back home to join West Bank about almost 16 years ago.
Oh, wow.
It was 16 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that part of the Minnesota expansion because your love of Minnesota and being there for so long and developing those relationships that you, I'm sure, made along the way?
Well, thank you for asking. Well, it has everything to do with it. I mean,
Okay.
it's just familiar, it's reuniting relationships.
Yeah.
Kind of myself along with others just kind of reunited our old team. I mean, that was possible due to relationships, friendships, and a common trust in one another.
That's
So we didn't
amazing.
buy any banks. We just started them from zero.
Yeah, that's incredible.
But we had the advantages of relationships. The community leaders, the business owners, they all knew us, and we had relationships with them.
Yeah.
So that's how that happened. Sounds simple, and it kind of is, but I think also unique and very powerful.
Unique and powerful, and it takes time to build relationships too, right? It's not something overnight. It takes time, It takes effort, it takes that love and care for somebody else. So that's incredible. That speaks volumes to who you are, Dave. I mean, really.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
But then also with our foundation, one of the West Bank, you could say, just values that we have. Everybody is involved in something. They get to pick. And it's something that they derive value or enjoyment from. Also, something that can be helpful to West Bank. And so everybody's involved. So we have lots and lots of hours of community service, like 10,000, something like that.
Wow.
And, of course, our foundation and our giving, we always support everything that our own people are involved in. But we do have our own foundation. Sometimes we kind of slice it kind of thin, but we touch everybody.
Nice.
I mean, we're heavy in West Des Moines and Des Moines, but we are also in Iowa City and in Minnesota. But, we probably financially support well in excess of 100 different charitable nonprofit organizations.
Thank you for that.
And so that's and even in our investments when we buy municipal bonds or securities, it's all from they're from the communities that we serve.
Yeah, I love that. I did read on your website you lean into education, arts and culture. I think I read you've given over $450,000 to various organizations over the years. So yeah, really amazing. Love that care for community.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Do you have any community organizations that you are really fond of and spend your time with helping to support?
Well, thank you. Just being a community banker for over 4 decades, bankers are the one, whatever community you go to. I mean, the banks are always out front with this. I mean, the banks are the leaders with community involvement.
Yeah,
and
thank you for that again.
we're proud of that. And so I've had the opportunity to be involved in probably just about everything, And when I left Rochester, I was honored with, the mayor's gold medal, Key to the City for community leadership and being involved in everything.
Wow.
And since I've been back home in Des Moines, I've been involved in a lot of things. But you asked about my favorite, and I would tell you that of all these countless noble organizations and causes. You know, a lot of it's not really it's a community cause that the bankers get involved in, you know, for the good of the community. But I don't even have a close second place to how I feel about our Iowa Bankers Association.
Oh, nice.
And the work that the combined efforts of bankers across Iowa consciously do to promote and advance our own communities and be advocates for our industry and help others understand the importance of a strong banking industry and what that means to our economies and all of our communities. So my answer would clearly be my fondest and most favorite is the Iowa Bankers Association.
That's really neat to hear. And you know, my philosophy is if you have a lot of banks in your city, you have a strong city because they're supporting our community, our population, our small business owners, you know, our entrepreneurs that are out there trying to make the next, you know, $1 billion business, right? So that's really, I can't thank all of our banks and you all enough for all your support of the community and all that you do. It speaks volumes, and our city wouldn't be where we are without all of the banking support.
Well, thank you for saying that. You know, and the people of Iowa probably would have no way of knowing this, but we are unduly blessed with the number of community banks we have across Iowa per capita of our population. And it's really impossible for a town to survive and thrive without a strong, at least one strong community bank.
Oh, yeah.
And we're blessed to have many here in Iowa.
So thank you again for being a President's Council member and so involved in the chamber too. John Hummel was our past chair, right? He's also on our new foundation that we started as well. So he's on our foundation board of trustees too. So West Bank is always involved in so many things. So I just thank you so much. So you personally, how did you get started in the banking business? How did all this, you said 4 decades? I can't believe that, but how did you get started in the banking business?
Well, you know, it's not because, you know, Grandma or Grandpa owned a bank or anything, but you want the real story? It's kind of funny, actually. So
please.
Do you remember what Principal Financial Group used to be called before they changed their name? You have to be, you know, a little older to know that. Well, they were Bankers Life. Oh. Okay, they were Bankers Life. And when I got out of school, college, 1983, it was not a good time for a young person to be out there looking for a job. Yeah. And many, including me, really didn't find one that, at least that you wanted to say yes to. So based upon my mother's insistence, I went to graduate school. It really wasn't part of my plan, but I went to an MBA program at Drake, which was great, and I really enjoyed that. Close to graduation time, I signed up for on-campus interviews, and I signed up with what I thought was Banker's Life. So I get to, this is me, Dave Nelson did this. It's funny, but I get to the interview, we're in the interview, and I'm thinking I'm talking to someone from Banker's Life. It turns out they were from Bankers Trust. And they offered me a job, and I said, yes, I would like to do that. So I wouldn't at all call that a mistake, but it really was not on purpose. So that's how I got my first taste of banking. I really immediately liked the essence of what the bank and the bankers do for a living, and started to learn a trade. And after a couple, 3 years, I graduated with my MBA, got married, and started work all within like a month of it.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
But after a couple, 3 years, Kathy and I, we decided to move to Minnesota with the old Norwest Bank in Mankato, Minnesota. Okay. And that bank, and it was also still a bad time that the economy was not in a good place. The ag crisis, high interest rates, farm and business failures, high unemployment.
CDs were like 10% at that point, I think, which was crazy.
And even a little higher. So it was a tough time. But anyway, that bank, and the banking industry was in trouble, okay? But anyway, during the 90s, that little bank, Norwest Bank, Mankato, became the top performing bank in the whole Norwest system. Wow. So everybody that was part of that, including me and several of my friends, got to go be bank president somewhere at a relatively young age. Nice. One, Harley Olafson, who's here in Des Moines, he picked Mankato. Brad Peters, who runs our Minnesota operations, picked Owatonna. Another friend picked St. Cloud, and Dave Nelson here picked Rochester.
Okay.
So you see the connection now of why
Yes.
those towns are now, we have West Banks in those communities.
That's amazing. Of course. It's all
Yeah.
coming together. Oh, my
Right.
gosh. That's incredible. and here you are, right? So, and you've never left the banking industry in all those years. Yeah.
Imagine
It's
that.
incredible.
Yes. So
That's incredible.
40 years and counting.
Wow. Love it. Yay. 40 years and counting. So what do you do in your free time? It sounds like you're incredibly busy running all these banks, but what do you do in your spare time?
Well, I love to explore. I like to be someplace I haven't been before, just like, coming here to Trilex. Even though Ron's invited me a few times, I finally made it, and this
Yay.
is really a cool place. But I like to even go to a new golf course I'd never been to. Or Kathy and I, a few years ago, decided we should take one, like a trip every year,
Nice.
someplace far away. So we've been to places to like Ireland and Iceland and done a few European river cruises and got to see, a lot of places quickly. So I would do like to travel. When I was a kid, high school and college, I was a landscaper, and I liked that. And I'm not a good carpenter, plumber, electrician, but I'm really handy with a shovel and, working outside. So that's always been an interest of mine. That's evolved into a hobby, probably maybe a excessively compulsive one. I always have the most tricked out yard, wherever I live.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Not talking vegetables here. I'm talking, plants and flowers,
Yeah.
bloom, pretty things.
Amazing. I
Yeah.
love that. This has been so much fun. So was there any question that you wish like everybody knew about you or the bank or the community or something that maybe I didn't ask you today?
Well, I just would like to thank the community for how they support West Bank in our industry. And it's just a pleasure and an honor to be the head of West Bank. I mean, I love being an Iowan. I love being a Des Moines native. I brag about, our community to others. And because I've been involved nationally with the Banking Association, I've been on the board of the national. I'm kind of a lobbyist, to be honest with you. I used to go to Washington, D.C. way too many times every year, but I've met bankers across the country and leaders across the country. And people are envious of Iowa and what we have here, and it's just a wonderful place to live. We're big enough to have bigger city amenities, but we're not so big that we have big city problems. The people are good here. People are good. I guess I would maybe just one caution. The people ask me about like growth industries and so on, and I'm not joking when I say I think over the last 10 years across America, one of the biggest growth industries, unfortunately, is fraud.
Yeah.
And that's an enemy my industry is fighting against. But everything from tricking old people on the telephone or making somebody click on a bad spot on the computer to really high-tech crime, that unfortunately is gaining speed. And I would tell people when they talk about like cryptocurrency, stable coins, and they hear people touting this, I would ask them ask people why they think that's a good idea. Ask people, well, what problem does that solve? How does that make something better? And listen carefully to what they say, and then ask them to provide an example of that, because the truth is hidden here. I'm nervous about this because that just will open the door to more fraud, more illegal activity, it's a big topic right now in our industry and in our country, and I caution people. I request people to learn more about this and try to figure out why it's a good thing.
Yeah. Do
The
your
truth
research.
the truth can be elusive.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you get caught up in the enthusiasm, right? The enthusiasm of something new, like the crypto and all that. Yeah, and you see people do it. Well, maybe I need to do it. Yeah, but do your homework, right? Yeah. Do your homework.
And if you have questions, call me.
Okay. Call Dave if you have questions about those. Well, I have a lot of questions about that, so I will be calling you. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate you so much and all that you do for the community in the region and also in Minnesota with our Minnesota friends. So that's incredible. You're a relationship builder and a rainmaker and a community builder. So thank you so much for your support from the bottom of my heart and everybody else's. So
Well, thank you for having me.
Wonderful to learn more about much, you and your journey in West Bank. And so thank you so much for being here, everybody, at our CEO Insight series. And stay tuned. Find us on YouTube and more. And we hope you have a good rest of your day, and go West Des Moines. Thank you.